Krikstal's insect-like features twitched nervously. "You are suggesting that we apologize to the entity that came from the galactic core was beyond anything the Council had imagined possible. It appeared on their long-range sensors like a moving mountain. The surface was covered with technology that seemed to bend space itself. Energy readings showed power levels that should have torn the construct apart, but somehow it held together and moved faster than light without any visible propulsion system. The Council sent their most advanced scout ship, the Vigilant, to investigate. Captain Mortex was their best officer, commanding their most sophisticated vessel. The ship was equipped with the latest sensors and defensive systems. The Vigilant never sent a single message after approaching the entity. It simply vanished from all tracking systems, as if it had never existed. Panic spread through the Council chambers like a plague. Emergency sessions were called every day, but no one had answers. Their best scientists could not explain the entity's technology. Their military leaders had no tactics for fighting something they could not understand. Elder Vorth stood before a chamber that was half empty. 12 species had withdrawn from the Council in the past month. Some were trying to make separate, peace with humanity. Others were simply fleeing to the edge of the galaxy as fast as their ships could carry them. "We have one option left," Vorth said to the remaining Council members. His voice was steady, but his ancient eyes showed fear that he could not hide. "We must ask the humans for help." The words hung in the air, like a death sentence. For 800 years, the Council had been the supreme authority in the galaxy. Now they were about to beg for help from the species they had tried to control. "They will never agree," said Krikstal. His insect-like features were twitching rapidly, which meant he was terrified. "We treated them like children. We voted to supervise their colonies. Why would they help us now?" "Because the alternative is the extinction of galactic civilization," Vorth replied simply. The formal request was sent to Earth through diplomatic channels. The message was brief and contained none of the usual flowery language that the Council normally used. "The Galactic Council formally requests immediate human assistance in addressing an existential threat to all galactic civilizations. All previous restrictions and conditions are withdrawn. Please respond urgently." Ambassador Jake Harrison received the message while reviewing intelligence reports in his office on Earth. Maria Santos was still his aide, having stayed with him through the withdrawal and its aftermath. "Well," Jake said after reading the message twice, "they are scared." "Should we be scared too?" Maria asked. The answer came from an unexpected source. Captain Ryan Mitchell had been conducting deep space reconnaissance when his ship encountered something that changed everything. His report was classified at the highest levels and sent directly to President Adams. "Ma'am," Ryan's message began, "we made contact with the entity using our new quantum communication array. It is not what we thought. The entity was not an invasion force. It was a refugee. The construct had once been a massive city ship belonging to a civilization called the Architects. They had been the most advanced species in their galaxy, builders of impossible technologies and masters of physics that other species could barely comprehend. But something had destroyed them. Something so terrible that the surviving Architects had built this ship and fled across the void between galaxies. They had been running for thousands of years, hoping to find a place where they could hide. The entity is afraid," Ryan continued in his report. "It detected our quantum communications and realized that this galaxy has developed advanced civilizations. It is trying to warn us. The thing that destroyed the Architects was following their trail. It had consumed their entire galaxy, turning every star system into raw materials for its own growth. Now it was coming here, drawn by the Architects. Quantum wake? How long do we have?" President Adams asked during the emergency briefing. "According to the Architect ship, perhaps 5 years before the Devourers arrive in our galaxy," replied Director Cooper. "Maybe less if they detect high levels of technological activity. Devourers? That is what the architects call them. Machine intelligences that consume civilizations to fuel their own expansion. They convert matter, energy, and information into more of themselves. Once they arrive, they will not stop until every world in the galaxy is stripped bare. President. Adams felt the weight of history settling on her shoulders. This was not just about human council relations anymore. This was about the survival of every living thing in the galaxy. "Send a message to the council," she said quietly. "Tell them that humanity accepts their request for assistance. But this time, we do it our way." Elder Vorth's relief was visible when the human response arrived. But as he read the conditions that humanity attached to their assistance, he realized that the galaxy would never be the same again. Humans would return to council space, but not as junior partners or probationary members. They would return as equals, with full voting rights and veto power over major decisions. Human colonies would remain completely autonomous. Human researchers would have unlimited access to all council technology and databases. Human military. Advisors would have command authority over joint operations. "They are demanding everything we refuse to give them," Krikstal said after reading the conditions. "They are demanding what they should have had from the beginning," Vorth replied. "And considering the circumstances, we are fortunate they are, willing to help at all." The council vote was unanimous. For the first time in galactic history, every remaining member agreed on something. Within days, human ships began returning to council space. But these were not the same humans who had left 8 months ago. During their isolation, human technology had advanced by decades. Their ships were faster, their weapons more powerful, their sensors more sophisticated than anything the Council possessed. Dr. Patricia Hall returned to Altair 3 with technologies that seemed like magic to her former colleagues. She solved the quantum cascade problem in 3 hours using techniques that she had developed during her time away. "How is this possible?" Dr. Zixmore asked as he watched her work. "These equations should not work according to known physics." "They work according to human physics," Patricia replied. "We had 8 months to think without council restrictions. Turns out we can accomplish a lot when we are not being told what is impossible." Captain Ryan Mitchell took command of the joint human council fleet that was being assembled to face the Devourer threat. Council admirals who had commanded fleets for centuries found themselves taking orders from a human who was young enough to be their child. But they took those orders because human tactical thinking had proven superior to their own. Commander Ashley Turner returned to the Sigma Draconis system and ended the rebellion in 2 weeks. Not through military force, but through the kind of creative diplomacy that only humans seemed capable of. She found a solution that gave both sides what they really wanted while solving the underlying causes of the conflict. "How did you do it?" asked Sub-Commander Yalrix after the peace accords were signed. "We listened," Ashley replied. "Neither side really wanted to fight. They just did not know how to stop fighting without losing face." Ambassador Jake Harrison returned to the council chambers for the first time in 8 months. The chamber looked different now. Human flags hung alongside alien banners. Human representatives sat in the same circle as council members, not in the observer sections. Elder Vorth approached Jake after the first joint session. "Ambassador Harrison," the ancient alien said formally, "I owe you an apology. We were wrong about humanity. We let fear and prejudice cloud our judgment." Jake looked at the old alien who had once dismissed humans as too primitive for self-governance. "We all make mistakes, Elder Vorth. The question is whether we learn from them." "And have we learned?" Jake looked around the chamber where humans and aliens were working together as equals for the first time. "We are about to find out, because the real test is coming." Preparations for the Devourer threat began immediately. Human scientists worked alongside alien researchers to develop new weapons and defenses. Human military strategists planned joint operations with Council fleet commanders. human diplomats reached out to independent species to build the largest alliance in galactic history. The architect ship provided what intelligence it could about the Devourers, but the news was not encouraging. The enemy was beyond anything the galaxy had ever faced. They had consumed thousands of civilizations across multiple galaxies. They learned from every species they destroyed, incorporating new technologies and tactics into their collective intelligence. Can we win? President Adams asked during a classified briefing with her top advisors. Unknown, replied Director Cooper honestly, but we have something the Devourers have never encountered before, which is humans. And human allies who actually want to work with us instead of controlling us. As the first Devourer scouts appeared at the edge of the galaxy, humanity and the Council stood together as equals. The species that had once voted to supervise human colonies now looked to human leadership for salvation. The moment humans had walked away, fear had taken over the Galactic Council. But now, as they returned, something else was taking over, hope. The massive space station floated in the darkness between two suns. Ships from 12 different alien races sat docked to its metal arms like sleeping giants. Inside the main chamber, creatures that looked nothing like humans argued in voices that sounded like music, grinding metal, and distant thunder. Captain John Parker stood at the human speaking platform. His gray uniform was simple compared to the flowing robes and crystal armor worn by the aliens around him. Next to him, Dr. Lisa Grant held a small device that recorded everything the aliens said and did. Her job was to study how these creatures acted when they were angry or scared. The Galactic Council had been meeting for 3 days. Every alien leader wanted the same thing from humanity. They wanted humans to sign papers that would change everything about how Earth's people lived and traveled through space. Ambassador Zektar was the first to speak. He was tall and thin with skin that looked like blue glass. When he moved his arms, light danced across his body like water. His voice came through the translation machines as cold and sharp. The human species has had enough time to think, Zektar said. 3 full years we have waited. 3 years we have offered you the gifts of our advanced worlds, medical knowledge that could help your people live twice as long, communication systems that work faster than light itself, protection from the dangers that hide in dark space. Parker watched the alien's face. Even through the translation mask, he could see anger building behind those strange blue eyes. Besides Zektar, other alien leaders nodded their heads or made similar movements with whatever they used instead of heads. Dr. Grant whispered to Parker without moving her lips much. His body temperature just went up 2 degrees. The patches of light on his skin are flashing faster. He's getting upset. The Thylorian Chancellor spoke next. She looked more like a plant than an animal, with green skin and long arms that split into smaller branches at the ends. Her voice was soft and musical, but Parker could hear the threat hidden in her words. Your people are young, the Chancellor said. You have only been traveling between stars for 50 of your years. We have been building this peaceful order for over 2,000 years. Every smart species learns that working together is better than fighting alone. A creature that looked like a floating jellyfish made of silver metal drifted forward. This was the Etherian observer. They never spoke much, but when they did, other aliens listened. The terms are fair, the Etherian said in a voice like wind through metal tubes. Accept the limits on your military ships. Accept the rules about which star systems you can visit. Accept the trade agreements that will bring wealth to your worlds. This is how civilized species live. Parker looked at Colonel Ryan Murphy, who stood with the other human officers. Murphy was a soldier who had fought in the wars between Earth's nations before humanity reached the stars. His face showed nothing, but Parker knew what he was thinking. These aliens were not offering friendship. They were demanding surrender. For the past 3 years, human ships had been exploring new star systems. They found worlds with strange plants and ancient ruins. They found asteroids full of metals that Earth needed. They found empty spaces perfect for building new human colonies. But every time human ships went somewhere new, alien patrol boats would appear. The aliens would politely suggest that humans might be happier exploring in a different direction. They would point toward empty star systems with nothing useful in them. Parker had his orders from Director Kate Williams back on Earth. The United Defense Council had voted. Every nation on Earth agreed. Every colony world agreed. Humanity would not accept the alien treaties. Honored members of the Galactic Council, Parker said. His voice was calm and clear. The people of Earth thank you for your offers. We have studied your proposals carefully. We have discussed them with our leaders and our citizens. The chamber grew quiet. Even the constant humming of the stations. Machines seemed to get softer. Every alien eye, sensor, or whatever they used to see focused on Parker. However, Parker continued, humanity must decline all treaties and agreements offered by the Galactic Council. We will continue to explore and expand as we choose. We will build our colonies where we find good worlds. We will defend ourselves with whatever weapons we think we need. The reaction was immediate and violent. Zektar's blue skin flashed bright white. The Thylorian Chancellor's branches started shaking like leaves in a storm. A creature that looked like a giant crab began clicking its claws so fast it sounded like machine gun fire. The floating jellyfish alien dropped down until it was level with Parker's face. This is not possible, it said. No species refuses the treaties. No civilization chooses to stand alone against the galaxy. Dr. Grant's recording device was working overtime. Captain, she whispered, their stress chemicals just went through the roof. Whatever they expected us to say, it wasn't this. A new alien stood up from the back of the chamber. This one was huge, with gray skin like stone and arms thick as tree trunks. He was from the ancient builders, the oldest and most powerful race in the council. Young humans, the ancient builder said in a voice like rocks grinding together. You do not understand what you are choosing. Outside the protection of the council, terrible things wait in the dark between stars. Pirates who will steal your ships, diseases that will kill your people, wars that will burn your worlds. Parker looked the massive alien in the eyes. We understand the risks. We choose to face them as free people. The chamber erupted again. Some aliens were shouting. Others were making sounds that the translation machines could not turn into words. A few species that Parker had never seen before came out of the shadows where they had been watching. Colonel Murphy stepped forward. His hand did not move toward his weapon, but his body language made it clear he was ready for trouble. Captain, I think we should leave. Parker nodded. He spoke one more time to the council. Humanity's answer is final. We will not accept any treaties that limit our freedom to grow and explore. We wish you peace, but we will not bow to your demands. As the human delegation walked toward the exit, Zektar called out behind them. You have 72 hours to change your minds. After that, the Council will take whatever steps are necessary to protect galactic stability. Parker did not turn around. He knew a threat when he heard one. The aliens were scared, and scared people did stupid things. The question was whether humanity was ready for what came next. As their shuttle left the space station, Dr. Grant looked at her readings one more time. Captain, every species in that room showed signs of extreme fear. Whatever they're really afraid of, it's not just about us refusing their treaties. Parker stared out at the stars. Somewhere out there, human ships were exploring new worlds and building new homes. Soon, those ships might have to fight for the right to exist. Send a message to Earth, Parker told the pilot. Tell Director Williams that we delivered our answer. Tell her the aliens did not take it well. The shuttle jumped to faster-than-light speed, carrying news that would change everything. Behind them, the space station buzzed with emergency meetings and desperate plans. The Galactic Council faced something they had not seen in 2,000 years, a species that refused to obey. The news spread through the galaxy faster than anyone expected. Within 6 hours of humanity's rejection, emergency signals were flying between alien worlds. Ships that had been traveling peacefully through space suddenly changed course and headed for their home systems. The careful order that had kept the galaxy stable for 2,000 years was starting to crack. Admiral Helen Brooks was 3 months out from Earth when the priority message reached her ship. The UES Defiance was humanity's newest deep space explorer, built to travel farther and faster than any human ship before it. Brooks had been mapping star systems on the outer edge of known space when her communications officer brought her the urgent transmission. "Admiral, this came in on the emergency channel," Lieutenant Ben Rodriguez said as he handed her the data pad. "It's from Earth Command, marked urgent and classified." Brooks read the message twice before she believed it. Humanity had rejected all treaties with the Galactic Council. The aliens had given Earth 72 hours to change their minds before taking action. Earth Command wanted all deep space ships to continue their missions, but be ready for anything. "Rodriguez, how many alien ships have we detected in the past week?" Brooks asked. The young officer checked his instruments. "Normal patrol levels. Until yesterday, Admiral. Since then, we've seen triple the usual traffic. Lots of ships moving fast toward the core systems." Brooks walked to the main viewing screen. The stars looked the same as always, cold and distant. But somewhere out there, alien leaders were making decisions that could mean war or peace for humanity. On the other side of the galaxy, Supreme Chancellor Vorthak of the Ancient Builders called an emergency meeting of the Inner Circle. The holographic chamber deep beneath the surface of Nexus Prime had not seen this much activity since the Krillian Rebellion 800 years ago. 12 alien faces appeared around the circular table, each one representing billions of citizens. Across hundreds of worlds, some looked worried, others looked angry, all of them looked surprised. "How is this possible?" asked Chancellor Melthor of the Thylorians. Her plant-like features were darker than usual, a sign of deep stress in her. "Species. Every species accepts the treaties eventually. Even the most stubborn worlds see reason when they understand the benefits." Intelligence Director Zaxnim of the Vorthon Empire activated a 3-dimensional display that showed human space. Red dots marked human colonies. Blue lines showed human ship movements. Yellow indicators tracked human industrial output. "The humans are different," Zaxnim said. His crystal skin was flashing pale colors, something that happened when his people were confused. "Look at these numbers. Their population growth is explosive. Their industrial capacity doubles every 10 standard years. Their military technology develops without any input from galactic sources." Vorthak studied the display with his ancient eyes. As one of the original builders who had founded the Galactic Council, he had seen many young species rise and fall. But something about humanity worried him in ways he had not felt for centuries. "They do not need us," Vorthak said slowly. "Every other species that joined the Council was struggling when we found them. They needed our medicine to fight diseases. They needed our technology to travel between stars. They needed our protection from enemies. But these humans, they developed faster than light travel on their own," added the Etherian observer. "They created artificial intelligence systems that we cannot understand. They built weapons using principles that our scientists cannot explain." Back in human space, Dr. Andrew Kim was working the night shift at the monitoring station orbiting Alpha Centauri. His job was to listen to alien radio signals and try to understand what different species were saying to each other. Usually, it was boring work. Aliens talked about trade routes, weather on their home worlds, and entertainment programs. Tonight was different. Kim's computers were picking up encrypted military transmissions from every major alien species. The message traffic was so heavy that his equipment could barely keep up. "This is Dr. Kim at Monitor Station 7, he said into his microphone. "I need to speak with Earth Command immediately. Priority 1. Director Kate Williams was in a meeting when Kim's call came through. She had been talking with military leaders from every human colony about what to do if the aliens tried to force humanity to accept their treaties. The call from Kim made everyone in the room go quiet. "Dr. Kim, what do you have for us?" Williams asked. "Director, the aliens are scared," Kim said. His voice was excited but worried at the same time. "I've been monitoring their communications for 5 years. I've never seen anything like this. They're using emergency military codes. Ships are moving everywhere, and they keep mentioning something called the Terran variable." Williams looked at her advisors. "The Terran variable? What does that mean?" "I don't know," Kim admitted. "But whatever it is, they're treating it like a major threat to their entire system. Some of the messages I've intercepted use words that translate to things like containment failure and historical precedent." Colonel Murphy, who had returned from the council station that morning, leaned forward. "Director, during our time at the station, Dr. Grant noticed that every alien species showed extreme stress responses when we rejected their treaties. This wasn't normal diplomatic disappointment. They were genuinely afraid." On her ship, Admiral Brooks received another update from her navigation team. "Admiral, we're seeing something strange," reported Chief Navigator Lisa Torres. "Long-range sensors show alien patrol fleets moving into positions around human space. They're not attacking, but they're definitely setting up some kind of perimeter." Brooks studied the tactical display. Red markers showed alien ships taking positions near every major hyperspace route that connected human space to the rest of the galaxy. It looked like the beginning of a blockade. "Torres, send a coded message to Earth Command," Brooks ordered. "Tell them the aliens are positioning ships to cut off our access to unexplored space. It looks like they're trying to box us in." Meanwhile, deep in the classified files of the Galactic Council, automated systems were accessing information that had not been reviewed for over 1,000 years. Ancient protocols written by the original builders were activating for the first time since the founding of the Council. The files contained detailed procedures for dealing with what the original builders called expansion-class threats. These were species that could not be controlled through normal diplomatic means, species that were too independent, too aggressive, or too advanced to accept the limitations that kept the galactic order stable. According to the ancient protocols, there had been 17 expansion-class threats in galactic history. 16 of them had been successfully contained through various means. The 17th had required more extreme measures. Director Williams called an emergency session of Earth's United Defense Council. Representatives from every human world participated through quantum communication links. The holographic meeting room was filled with the faces of colony governors, military commanders, and civilian leaders. "The situation is developing faster than we expected," Williams told the assembly. "Our deep space ships report alien fleets moving to surround human space. Our monitoring stations detect massive increases in alien military communications. It's clear that our rejection of their treaties has triggered some kind of crisis response." Governor Patricia Lee from the Mars colonies spoke first. "Director, are we talking about the possibility of war?" "We have to consider it," Williams replied. "But something else is happening here. The aliens' reaction suggests this is about more than just diplomatic disappointment. They're behaving like we've threatened the foundation of their entire civilization." Admiral Brooks's voice came through the communication system from deep space. "Director, I've been thinking about something. In 3 years of contact with the Galactic Council, have we ever seen them disagree with each other about anything important?" Williams considered the question. "Now that you mention it, no. Every time we've met with them, all the species seem to have the same opinions about everything." "That's not natural," Brooks continued. 12 different species that evolved on different worlds, with different cultures and different needs, and they all want exactly the same thing from us? Something is keeping them unified, and I don't think it's just shared values." Dr. Grant, who had been analyzing her recordings from the council station, made a discovery that changed everything, hidden in the biochemical data she had collected. From the alien representatives was a pattern that made her hands shake as she realized what it meant. "Director," Grant said during an emergency call to Earth Command, I found something in the data from the council meeting. Every single alien species showed the same specific stress response when we rejected their treaties. The same hormones, the same neural activity patterns, the same physical reactions. What does that mean? Williams asked. It means they're not just scared of what we might do, Grant replied. They're scared of what will happen to them if they can't control us, and based on these readings, that fear goes deeper than politics or economics. They're afraid for their survival. As the 72-hour deadline approached, humanity prepared for whatever came next. Deep space ships took defensive positions. Colony. Worlds activated their defense systems. Earth's orbital stations pow. The discovery that changed everything came from the most unexpected place in the galaxy. Professor Elena Vasquez had been digging through ancient ruins on Corvash 7 for 8 months. The dead world orbited a dying star at the edge of explored space. Most people thought she was wasting her time studying the remains of a civilization that had been extinct for over 3,000 years. Elena disagreed. The Corvashi had built cities that covered entire continents. Their technology had been advanced enough to move planets and create artificial stars. A species that powerful did not just disappear without leaving behind important information. The breakthrough came when Elena's team found a sealed vault buried beneath what had once been the Corvashi capital city. The vault's door was made from materials that human scientists could not identify. Inside, the air was still breathable after thousands of years, and on crystalline storage devices that still worked perfectly, the Corvashi had left behind the most complete record of early galactic history ever discovered. "This is Professor Vasquez calling Earth Command," Elena said into her communicator, as she stood in the vault surrounded by glowing data crystals. "I need to speak with Director Williams immediately. What I've found here changes everything we know about the Galactic Council." 3 hours later, Elena was explaining her discovery to a room full of Earth's most important leaders. The holographic displays showed page after page of translated Corvashi text, mixed with star charts and species classification data that was older than human civilization. The Corvashi were observers, Elena explained. They watched other species, develop and recorded everything they saw. According to these files, they were present when the Galactic Council was first formed over 2,000 years ago. Director Williams studied the ancient records. "What do they say about how the Council operates?" Elena highlighted a section of text that made everyone in the room go quiet. "The Council has a classification system for every species they encounter. Most civilizations fall into predictable categories. Type 1 species are peaceful but weak. Type 2 species are aggressive but controllable. Type 3 species are advanced but dependent on galactic infrastructure." "Where do we fit?" asked Colonel Murphy. Elena brought up a new display that showed humanity's profile according to Corvashi analysis methods. "Based on our expansion rate, military development, and technological independence, we would be classified as Type 7. According to these records, humanity is the first Type 7 species the galaxy has seen in over 2,000 years." "What happened to the last Type 7 species?" Williams asked, though she suspected she already knew the answer. Elena's face was grim as she accessed another file. "The Corvashi themselves were Type 7. The records show that they were given the same choice we just received: accept the treaties and limitations imposed by the Council, or face the consequences. And they chose to resist," Williams said. "Yes, and according to these files, the Council's response was to eliminate them completely. Not just their military, not just their government. Their entire species was wiped out to prevent them from threatening the galactic order." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. The generous offers of technology and protection had never been real. They were bribes designed to make species dependent on the Council. Any civilization that refused to accept the limitations would be destroyed. Dr. Grant, who had been analyzing the biological data from the Council meeting, made another disturbing connection. "The stress responses I recorded from the alien representatives, Makes sense now. They weren't just worried about us refusing their treaties. They were terrified that we might discover the truth about what the Council really is. Admiral Brooks joined the meeting from her ship via quantum communication. Director, this explains something my navigation team discovered yesterday. We've been tracking the movements of alien patrol fleets, and they're not just positioning around human space. They're surrounding every star system where we've established colonies or research stations. Captain Parker, who had returned to Earth after the Council meeting, reviewed intelligence reports from across human space. Our exploration ships have been reporting the same thing for months. Every time we approach certain sectors, alien ships appear to escort us away. They've been keeping us from finding something. Or someone, Elena added. She brought up another section of the Corvashi records. According to these files, the Council has been using the same elimination strategy for 2,000 years, but some species found ways to hide before they could be completely destroyed. The records mention hidden refuges and secret colonies scattered throughout the galaxy. Williams looked at her advisors. Are you telling me there might be other civilizations out there that the Council thinks they eliminated? It's possible, Elena replied. The Corvashi believed that several species managed to escape and go into hiding. If that's true, then the Council's control over the galaxy might not be as complete as they want everyone to believe. Dr. Andrew Kim's voice came through the communication system from his monitoring station. Director, I'm picking up something that supports that theory. For the past week, I've been detecting faint signals from empty star systems, signals that use encryption methods I've never seen before. Could they be from these hidden species? Williams asked. Maybe, Kim replied. The signals started appearing. Right after news of our treaty rejection spread through the galaxy, it's like someone has been waiting for another species to stand up to the Council. Meanwhile, in the Council chambers on Nexus Prime, the Inner Circle was dealing with their own shocking discoveries. Ancient monitoring systems that had been dormant for centuries were detecting activities that should not have been possible. The signals are confirmed, reported Intelligence Director Zaxnam. His crystal skin was flashing rapid patterns of fear and confusion. We're detecting unauthorized transmissions from 17 different sectors that have been classified as empty space for over 1,000 years. Supreme Chancellor Vorthak felt something he had not experienced since the early days of the Council. Fear. Real, deep fear that the order he had helped build was about to collapse. How many of them survived? Vorthak asked quietly. Unknown, Zaxnim replied. But the signal patterns match several species that were classified as eliminated during the Great Pacification. The Corvashi, the Centauri, the free traders of the Outer Rim. If even a fraction of them survived. Chancellor Melthor of the Thylorians interrupted. This is the humans' fault. Their rejection has encouraged the hidden remnants to reveal themselves. If we do not act quickly, the entire galactic order will collapse. Back on Earth, Director Williams convened an emergency session of the United Defense Council. The new information about the Council's true nature had changed everything about humanity's situation. We're not just fighting for our freedom, Williams told the assembled leaders. We're fighting for the right of any species to develop and expand without being controlled or eliminated by an ancient system that has forgotten what freedom means. Admiral Brooks reported from deep space. Director, our scout ships have been investigating some of the star systems where Dr. Kim detected those mysterious signals. We've found evidence of hidden bases and concealed colonies. Someone has definitely been hiding out there. Have you made contact? Williams asked. Not yet. But we're getting return signals when we broadcast on certain frequencies. Someone is listening, and they're responding in patterns that suggest intelligence and organization. Colonel Murphy reviewed the military situation. Director, the alien fleets surrounding our space have grown to over 300 ships. They're not just blocking our expansion anymore. They're positioning for an assault. Captain Parker had been studying the Corvashi records. There's something else we need to consider. According to these files, the Council has never faced a unified resistance before. Every previous Type 7 species stood alone when they were eliminated. But if there are hidden survivors out there, And if they're willing to work with us, we might have allies we didn't know existed, Williams finished. Dr. Grant made another discovery that confirmed their hopes. I've been analyzing the biological data from different alien species, and I found something interesting. The stress hormones that spiked during our treaty rejection weren't just fear responses. They were recognition responses. The aliens knew exactly what our rejection meant because they've done this before. But there's something else, Grant continued. The hormone patterns suggest that this situation is different from previous cases. The aliens are more afraid this time than they've ever been before. Elena looked up from the Korvashi records. I think I know why. According to these files, the Council's elimination campaigns worked because they could isolate their targets. They would cut off a species from the rest of the galaxy, then slowly destroy them with overwhelming force. But humanity isn't isolated, Williams realized. We've been exploring and expanding so fast that our colonies are spread across dozens of star systems. And if these hidden species are finally ready to come out of hiding, Admiral Brooks' voice came through the communication system with barely contained excitement. Director, we just received a transmission on the emergency frequency. It's not from any... The 72-hour deadline passed with no word from humanity. The Galactic Council had expected Earth to back down at the last moment, as every other species had done when faced with the reality of standing alone against the entire galaxy. Instead, human ships continued their expansion into forbidden sectors, and new colonies appeared on worlds that the Council had declared off-limits. Ambassador Zektar stood before the emergency assembly of alien leaders, his crystal skin flashing, angry whites and reds. The humans have made their choice, he announced to the packed chamber. They have ignored our final warning and continue their unauthorized expansion. The Council must now implement the stability protocols. Supreme Chancellor Vorthak activated the holographic display that showed the current military situation. Red markers indicated human colonies and ships. Blue markers showed Council forces. The numbers looked overwhelming in favor of the aliens. Phase 1 will begin immediately, Vorthak declared. All human ships will be ordered to return to their home systems. Any vessels found in unauthorized sectors will be escorted back to human space. Human colonies established without Council permission will be evacuated. Chancellor Melthor of the Thalorians raised one of her branch-like arms. And if the humans refuse to comply with the evacuation orders? Vorthak's ancient eyes grew cold. Then we proceed to Phase 2. Complete containment of human space, followed by the systematic elimination of their military capability. The galaxy cannot tolerate another Korvashi situation. The vote was unanimous. Every species that had enjoyed 2,000 years of peace and prosperity under Council rule agreed that humanity posed an unacceptable threat to galactic stability. The largest military fleet in recorded history began moving toward human space. Admiral Helen Brooks watched the alien fleet approach from the bridge of the UES Defiance. Her long-range sensors counted over 400 ships from 12 different species. The combined firepower was enough to destroy entire star systems. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the lead alien vessel, reported Communications Officer Rodriguez. They're demanding we surrender our ship and submit to escort back to Earth. Brooks looked at her crew. They were all volunteers who had signed up to explore the unknown regions of space. None of them had expected to become the front line of humanity's first interstellar war. Send a reply, Brooks ordered. Tell them that the UES Defiance is conducting lawful exploration in unclaimed space. We will not surrender our ship or abandon our mission. The alien response was immediate. 3 Council patrol ships moved to intercept the Defiance, their weapons powered but not yet targeting the human vessel. On Earth, Director Williams received reports from across human space. Alien fleets had appeared at every major hyperspace junction, effectively cutting off human colonies from each other. It was the beginning of the containment strategy that had worked so well against previous Type 7 species. Director, we're getting reports from 14 different systems, Colonel Murphy announced as he reviewed the incoming data. The aliens are demanding that our colonies evacuate immediately. They're claiming that human settlements violate ancient territorial agreements. Williams studied the tactical display. The alien strategy was clear. Isolate human settlements, then eliminate them one by one before they could coordinate a defense. "What's our response?" asked Captain Parker. "The same response we gave to their treaties," Williams replied. "We reject their demands completely. Send a message to all human ships and colonies. We will not abandon our homes or our right to explore the galaxy. Any attempt to force us from our territory will be considered an act of war." The message was broadcast on all frequencies, ensuring that every alien ship would hear humanity's final position. The reaction was swift and decisive. Admiral Brooks was still negotiating with the alien patrol ships when the shooting started. It was not her ship that fired first, but a human research station in the Kepler system that had been surrounded by Council forces. Dr. Sarah Kim was the station commander when 3 alien cruisers appeared and demanded immediate evacuation. The research station housed 37 civilian scientists studying exotic plants that might lead to new medicines for human colonies. "This is Research Station Beta calling any human vessels," Dr. Kim broadcast as the alien ships moved closer. "We are under threat by Council forces demanding evacuation. We have vital research data that cannot be abandoned." The lead alien ship, a massive Vorthon cruiser, powered its weapons and targeted the station's main habitat module. "You have 10 minutes to evacuate," came the transmission. "After that, we will consider your presence an act of aggression against the Galactic Council." Dr. Kim looked at her team of scientists. Some were young researchers on their first deep space assignment. Others were veterans who had spent years developing the medicines that kept human colonies healthy and growing. "We're not leaving, Doctor," Kim decided. "This research could save thousands of lives. Send all data to Earth immediately. If they want this station, they'll have to take it by force." The alien commander apparently decided that destroying a small research station would send the right message to other human settlements. The Vorthon cruiser fired a single blast that vaporized the station's main laboratory. 37 human civilians died in that explosion. They were scientists, not soldiers. Their only crime was refusing to abandon research that could help their species survive in the hostile environment of deep space. The news of the attack reached every human ship and colony within hours. The aliens had drawn first blood, and they had chosen to kill civilians rather than military targets. Admiral Brooks received the news while still facing the 3 Council patrol ships. Her response was immediate and devastating. "All ships, this is Admiral Brooks," she broadcast on the fleet frequency. "Council forces have attacked and destroyed Research Station Beta, killing 37 civilian scientists. The Council has chosen war. All human vessels are authorized to defend themselves with any means necessary." The UES Defiance had been built for exploration, but like all human deep space ships, it carried weapons that the Council knew nothing about. When Brooks gave the order to fire, the 3 alien patrol ships discovered that humanity's defensive capabilities had been seriously underestimated. The battle lasted less than 10 minutes. When it was over, 2 alien ships were debris floating in space, and the third was limping back toward Council territory with half its crew dead. But the real shock came when human ships throughout the galaxy responded to the attack on research. Station Beta. Vessels that the aliens had dismissed as simple exploration craft revealed hidden weapon systems that operated on principles Council scientists did not understand. Dr. Andrew Kim, monitoring alien communications from his listening post, detected a level of panic in Council transmissions that he had never heard before. "They're not just surprised," Kim reported to Earth Command. "They're terrified. The Council forces expected to face primitive human weapons. Instead, they're encountering technology that their computers can't analyze or counter." The truth was that humanity had been preparing for this moment since first contact with the Council 3 years ago. Earth's scientists had studied every piece of alien technology they could find, not to copy it, but to understand its weaknesses. Human weapons used quantum manipulation principles that could bypass alien shields. Human computers operated faster than alien systems because they were designed around different logical frameworks. Human ships were smaller but more maneuverable because they did not carry the massive life support systems needed by alien crews. Most importantly, humans fought differently than any species the Council had encountered. Where alien tactics relied on overwhelming firepower and numerical superiority, humans used speed, unpredictability, and coordinated attacks that struck at multiple targets simultaneously. Captain Lisa Torres, commanding a scout ship near the frontier, demonstrated this difference when she encountered a Council patrol fleet of 20 vessels. Instead of retreating or calling for reinforcements, Torres took her single ship directly into the center of the alien formation. Her rapid-fire attacks damaged 6 enemy vessels before they could coordinate a response. By the time the aliens organized a counterattack, Torres was already gone, having jumped to hyperspace and disappeared. But the most shocking development came when the hidden survivors of the Council's previous elimination campaigns finally revealed themselves. Admiral Brooks was regrouping her forces after the first day of fighting when her sensors detected ships approaching from outside the galaxy's main disk. The vessels used technology that her computers could not identify, but they were broadcasting human communication frequencies. "Unknown ships, this is Admiral Helen Brooks of the United Earth Fleet," she transmitted. "Please identify yourselves." The response came in perfect English, spoken with an accent that sounded almost human but not quite. "Admiral Brooks, this is Commander Keth Valros of the Free Corvashi Fleet. We have been monitoring Council communications, and we know they have begun the elimination protocol against your species. We offer our assistance in the fight for Galactic's freedom." Brooks stared at the tactical display as more ships emerged from hyperspace. These were not human vessels, but they were broadcasting.